Welcome to Special Needs Moms. I am your host, Trey Kearney. This is my co host.
Pat Ward, how are you?
We are here to support special needs moms, families, dads, those who care about us. And we just are here to just release, heal, laugh, cry, whatever it is we need to do with special needs moms.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So how you doing, Pat?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. I really am. It's been a wonderful so far beginning of a week. Thank you.
Okay, good. That's
And
good.
yourself?
I'm good. We have to ask each other because we do have special needs children, and a lot of times nobody asks us. So
Absolutely. Yes.
we ask each other. And
Yep. So thank you for asking.
yes, and thank you for asking too. So we are so excited to have a special guest in the building with us because it is all about special needs moms. And on this podcast, we have so many resources for the children. We have so many programs and outlets and therapists and all of these things, but we never have anything for the moms. So we're here to talk about what special needs moms need. So we're going to bring our girl Sadie to the stage. Hey, Sadie,
Hello. Hi, everyone.
how are you?
Girl, I'm maintaining. I'm doing well, but steady is good right now.
Okay, what's going on? What does I'm maintaining mean as a special needs mom?
Mm. Well, specifically for right now, what's going on in our world here. So Trey, I think you saw it on my Facebook post. Just recently, my younger daughter, Kyla, who is my daughter that has autism, she just lost her father. And it's been, a few weeks of just trying to just kind of like keeping an eye on her to see because she does not process she has not processed death in the same way that we do. So it's just kind of keeping an eye on her to see that she's good. And yeah, so that's kind of been the thing right now between my household and her and his family's household, because she's been between both households, just to kind of see how she's dealing with this, if at all. Yeah.
Wow, that is very, very interesting because we never think about how a special needs child will process a loss like that. So
Right. Mhm.
that's right, Pat. It's like,
Yeah, because my son, so he functions as like a 2 or 3 year old. So I
Okay.
don't know what he would be able to understand or comprehend in
Mhm.
that scenario. I do know that like my mom passed, my
Mhm.
godson passed away some years ago, and
Mhm.
he will say like they died, but
Mhm.
how much of that does he understand? I don't know.
Right.
So
Now, right. Now, I will say with Kyla, when my mom passed, I took her to the service because I wanted her to be there. Yeah, I didn't want to take her from that because I wasn't sure, how she would, like you said, process it, because Kyla is, I hate the whole terminology of the low functioning, high functioning, but she doesn't really hold conversation. She doesn't interact on that level. She's a happy girl. She's happy in her space with what she's doing, but a lot of interaction and stuff, like as far as conversation, she doesn't really do. So yeah, she was at the service, and not to be, but my mom was there, and it was just as if, she saw her and just like, she didn't make yeah, like, what is this? I don't know what this is. Okay, let me go do this. And then with her father, I had the discussion with his mom, because this was all of a sudden. And had the discussion with his mom, like, on how we should handle this, or, what should we try to explain? Like, I don't know. And she hasn't asked, like, and he has definitely been a part of her life from day to day. I think I was explaining to Trey a little bit earlier, because I went from having her through what I call the meat of the week to the ends of the week, because we moved so that she could continue to go to school. So she was living there in the house with him, and her grandparents. And she went to his bedroom one day, opened the door, he wasn't in there, and then she just came out. She didn't ask the question. She just assumed, okay, he's not here. So it's just she really just doesn't process it. So it's just a matter of us just kind of watching her to see if she ever will, or how to. Yeah, it's just been a very, odd few weeks to try to, just figure out what she needs. Everyone's just trying to be so supportive as to what she needs, and she's maneuvering as if she doesn't, need anything. So we're just trying to love on her, as much as we can.
So I hear you keep saying, well, you said it a couple of times, like that everyone is focused on what she needs at this time. But how are you dealing with that for yourself? How are you handling it?
Well, for me, and you all can probably relate to this 1,000%. It's like, if she's good, then I'm good, as far as processing this. I've just been trying to, because I know this was a hard blow for his family, because he and I haven't been together for years, but I'm still very close with his mom and his father, very great relationships there. And my heart is just so broken for them right now. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sad for my daughter, and the fact that now I'm getting emotional. The fact that she doesn't know the loss. Maybe it's God's protection, because she has a lot of like OCD behaviors and things like that. Maybe it's God's protection, but I'm very sad for her that she does not know this loss, So I don't. Yeah.
So I apologize, because I know you
No.
said you've been training on each other for some time, but how
Right.
old is your daughter?
So, yes, so I became a special needs mom by way of autism. I have two daughters, my older daughter, and then there's my baby girl, Kyla. Now, my older daughter, what is there? Oh, goodness. There's like a 14, 13-year age gap between the two. So everybody had pretty much gave up on the fact that I was going to have any other kids. So when Kyla came along, she was just so special to us. And I remember I was an account executive, and I was in implementation and project management. And it was very stressful. Like, that type of job, anybody who's done PM work, is very stressful because everything falls on you. So at the time, I remember taking Kyla to her pediatrician, and she may have been maybe around 2, going into 3, something like that. And she was there for like a regular checkup, I think. And then he says, oh, signs of autism. And she's standing up on like the doctor's table, and I'm looking at him. I looked at her face. I was like, I'm sorry, signs of what? And he said it to me as if he was saying the sky was blue. I was like, now this man probably sees a ton of patients, and he probably has these interactions all the time. I was like, for me, this is new to me. You need to find a better bedside manner. So, that was when I was first introduced to that word pertaining to my daughter. And it was kind of rough to hear, just because I had so many questions, and but yeah, she received that diagnosis, and we started her in an early intervention program, but it was still like I had so many questions, and I felt so alone. I mean, I'm not saying like his family rallied, my family rallied, but I still felt like alone as a mother, because even though you have all of this support from your family and maybe even your friends, but without having the actual support of other autism moms who can kind of say, hey girl, I'm here for you, then you do kind of still feel alone, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That's why we're doing this podcast. Absolutely.
How old is she now?
Oh, Kyla is 17, girl. She just turned 17. And when I look at her sometimes, I still feel like I'm looking at, my baby. Like, and she's just becoming such a young woman. And I would be lying to say that I wasn't, a little scared day to day, because I realized as she's getting older, who else is getting older? Me. I'm getting older. I try to maintain, but you know what I'm saying? Like underneath all, I'm getting older. And we see day to day, especially when we get around this age, because I'll be 51 next month. And you start to see people that are your age that are leaving here. And I'm like, well, I can't go nowhere though. It's like my situation is different. Lord, my situation is different. I can't go nowhere, So it's, now you're in that mindset. And then with her father, I'm just like, I was like, nothing can happen to me. And it's really, I find myself having those moments, vulnerable moments. I can just be in the bathroom giving her a shower, or, in the other room doing her hair. And those real moments, they hit you, they gut punch you sometimes, like, and then you got to pull it together. You got to rally. And it's like, I'm so tired of rallying.
Girl, say that again.
I am so tired of it. It's exhausting, and you pull it together and you try to push on. And then I've even had my cousin ask me, do I find myself doing so much because I do the magazine, I do the event, I would do do I find myself doing so much because I'm trying not to let those thoughts just like settle in.
Wow.
So you have a daughter on the spectrum, which is rare. For autism, because it really usually normally affects boys way more than girls. How does that feel on this journey, right? I think about this often for women who have daughters on the spectrum, like, because she gets her menstrual cycle, I don't know how, because I have a boy, so I don't know the level of the mentality of cramps, mood swings. How does that work for you?
So for me, because my mother battled endometriosis, I battled that. And I was like, Lord, my mom used to have so much pain. I used to have so much pain. My older daughter has pain. I was like, Lord, please, like, I don't want my baby to go through this. It's like, I know what that feels like. I don't want her to have to go through that, And I remember her school. Thank you, Jesus. She's always been blessed with an amazing child study team, amazing teachers. Like, that's why we didn't want to move her from the school. Like, she's always been blessed with that. And I remember going to her teacher, was like, okay, what's the plan? Her peer, like, I got my administration very early. What we gonna do? What we do, And they were like, well, we don't really have a plan, but we can definitely put something together. I was like, yes, just let me know, put me in, coach. Let's figure this out. And they worked faithfully with her, at the school with, coming up with different ways that they could try to teach her how to do. And then they tell me what they were doing so we could all be on the same page, And fortunately, she doesn't appear to be bothered with the pains and the cramps that, I experienced and my mom. And then sometimes with Kylie, you just never know. Like, the most she would do is kind of look at her belly and she might go ouchie. Like, you can kind of tell if she's slowing down, that she might be feeling some discomfort, and then we'll try to give her like a little children's Motrin or something to kind of ease her through that, But it's really, people don't realize, well, maybe they do, but when your child can't even communicate to you that they're in pain, you kind of got to watch for signs.
Ooh, come on. We've been talking about this.
It's a whole other level. Like when you got to watch for signs. I noticed she was chewing differently one day, and I'm looking at her and I'm trying to, girl, if anybody's ever had to brush their child with autism teeth and actually get in the back of that mouth, it's like, I'm like, and just to notice that she was chewing differently, I was like, okay, I think there might be an issue. It's like people don't realize that when you figure out that your child has been suffering because they couldn't communicate to you.
Lord have mercy. Lord, don't make me cry, please.
Yeah, don't
make us cry, because
girl.
Yeah, no, because I know exactly what you're talking about, because my son has he's diagnosed with cerebral palsy, intellectual disability, autism. He has a lot of different medical issues, and one of the biggest things with him is that when he's going through something, he does not say anything. So it's like you have to look at facial expressions. You have to look at how, like you just said, how he's eating, what he's eating, what he's tolerating, what he's willing to do. Is he not at his baseline, like not as active as he normally is, or responding the same way, and you just have to be on top of it. So it's like you're always on alert. Like your brain is always going, because I'm always paying attention to everything about him. Nothing ever stops. It's just like I'm constantly just looking, listening. It's so much. I mean, and not just talking about me. The other day, me and my husband, we were watching the video again that me and Trey did. And one of the things he said was, wow, not to hear your baby tell you or like cry. Like that has to be a lot, because when these kids are in pain, they have a high tolerance for pain. Trust me, I know for a fact with my son hydrocephalus and his shunt breaking, and we not knowing until he's like vomiting or holding the back of his head because he can't handle the headache that he's having, or his bowel that broke. And tore. Excuse me, I said broke, but his bowel tore, and he never complained. It wasn't until we noticed he started vomiting, and then we noticed that his stomach, he looked like he was pregnant. I'm like, his stomach was so hard that I felt like if I pressed it, it was going to explode. And then we knew we had to take him to the hospital, but his tolerance for pain is so high that when he's going through something, he doesn't say anything. And once you find out about it, I'm spending a week in the hospital, because that's how bad the situation is.
Right.
Jermaine is holding his hand right now. Like, I just wiped his hands with a wipe because he was eating spaghetti. And I just wiped his hand. It wasn't there yesterday. So he, like a little gash, like a little cut, and I'm trying to wipe it off thinking it's spaghetti. And I'm just like, he didn't even make enough. But and I'm just like, and then he pulled his hand back, and I'm like, when did this happen? Like, what stuck you? Like, where did this happen? Like, what was? So it's just, people just, like you said, Sadie, people just don't understand the level of just fear of not wanting your child to be in pain, and then not knowing, and then you're thinking, right, Pat, like, well, how long ago did your bowel tear? Like, how long
has this been going on that I didn't see this? And one thing I will say, like with special needs moms, we're giving them, they're a gift to us. And one of the things I always like to think of is like the communication, like the eye contact. You can see their eyes. Like you can tell, like your child though could be nonverbal, but they're communicating with you in a way that only you know as a parent. And a lot of people don't understand that. There's days that I could look at Brandon and I'll be like, this is what he said. And Lenny or his nurse would be like, well, how'd you know he was about to vomit? I said, look at his face. And I'm running with the bucket. They're like, well, how you know that? Like, look at him. And they be like, you ain't seen that. I'm like, I saw that face. They told me to get the bucket. So I knew. Like it's a form of communication that only we had, and I just know
Mhm.
that God has given us our children as gifts because we can communicate with our kids. We do
Yeah.
communicate with our kids. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Sadie and Pat, this is for our single autism mommies who desire love but feel like, since I have a child on the spectrum, nobody's going to want to deal with this. Nobody's going to love me. So, Sadie, you found love again.
oh,
Miss Pat, you found love again. So, can we just talk a little bit about the process and just encourage us? Because I'm a single mommy with a autism, and it
Mhm.
does. Who I don't even want to deal with this. Like, so some days I want to leave. So what man or what, you know what I'm saying, woman gonna want to step into this? So just talk a little bit about that, Sadie, and how that happened for you. I'm just interested.
Well, for me, I actually met my husband online. So I met my husband online, and I'm always upfront, look, my daughter has autism, and even when you say that, people that don't know that life, they don't know which level, they don't know, it
mhm.
really is a spectrum. So I let him know that she has autism, and he actually has a nephew that has Asperger's. So it wasn't a world that he was completely unfamiliar with, but still, when you met, like they say, when you met one person with autism, you met one person with autism. So
That's
um,
true.
he he was just, and it's funny because he loved me, I loved him, and bringing in that world, I wasn't one to ever be, parading my kids in front of anybody I was just dating, So whenever we did take that step to where, he did get a chance to meet Kyla, he was, it was always like it wasn't a bother to him. It took some adjusting because she has certain, behaviors that anyone that's not used to that, would take, I would think, some adjusting, to be fair to anyone. And but he was always open to learn and to understand.
Mm.
And when I would find this man sending me articles, to this day, sending me stuff on Facebook or whatever he done found from some autism group, like, I was like, well, look at you. you know. But what I do want to say to women mainly, like, is that there were other people that I had dated, and but there was only one, I will say, other person that I kind of let be in our lives like that a little bit. And I found that person was really great with my daughter, and I'm making a point here, was great with my daughter, but I didn't see myself with that person like that. So I stayed in that relationship longer than what I would have,
Mm.
because I saw that he was probably a good fit for my daughter.
Woo!
I
Say that again, honey, for the ones that is doing it because of the kid.
Now, what I found with
Mm.
myself, I found myself becoming a mean girl as far as he was concerned, because I didn't really want to be with this guy like that. But he was good for my child. And I had to just get to a point where I was like, okay, I can't do this. I stayed in it a little bit longer than I needed to, because I was probably like one of the women thinking like, oh, well, this guy, he's just so good with my daughter. And nothing against the guy. He was a great guy, but he just wasn't the right fit for me. And a lot of times, we're like, fit for me, fit for my child. Like, you thinking you can't have it both, but you can. You can. It may take a little bit longer because you're trying to make sure it's a good fit, but you can't be out there depriving yourself, and
Yeah.
your child sitting up here happy, and then you turning into the Grinch to everybody because you got an attitude because you ain't happy.
But Pat can relate to that from your book.
I was just saying, she
Remember,
said, I was like, wow, her story just is so familiar because I was in that situation where I
yes,
stayed
Mhm.
in a situation with someone that It didn't work out. And then I was so blessed to be able to meet my husband. Actually met him in church. So
Oh.
he knew my son or knew of my son because he always seen him with me all the time. He was literally on my hip until he was like 9 years old because of walking issues. But yeah, I mean, my husband was always willing and open to learning more about Brandon, his disability, talking to doctors. When we first, were together, he was always open to going on appointments with me so he can get an understanding of what I'm dealing with. Learning Brandon, just spending time with him and just learning how Brandon is and what Brandon needs and how he can make our lives better. And that was just everything to me, because I finally found someone that was open to making my life easier and my life better.
Yes.
So that was
right.
Ladies,
And
there's hope, ladies, single ladies. There's hope for us.
Absolutely, because there are people, I mean, there's people out there that are willing to support and help. We just have to learn that we just can't, again, we always put our kids first. And that's why I was so happy when, me and Trey started talking about just what is important to us. What do we need? Because we always put our kids first. And that's one of the things that, it could kind of harm us to some degree because we always do that. I will say that it wasn't the easiest thing for me, like leaving my son with someone else. I wasn't comfortable with putting somebody in Brandon's life or having somebody watch him because Brandon can't communicate. I was always afraid, like, well, what if this happened? What if that happened? Yeah. But, again, we work on that. He earned the ability to sit home with Brandon.
He earned that.
And I wasn't home with them, or I didn't have to give that every 5-minute phone call. It took time. I'm not gonna lie. Like I used to call like 15 minutes every half hour. I was that mom. Seriously, like we worked through it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like with my husband, like still, like my situation is a little bit different because she is a girl, and she does need assistance, like even with like bathroom stuff, like some of that stuff still to a degree, So like I might leave her with him long enough for me to run to the store or do this or do that, And it was so funny because at one point, like if she would have he was like he don't want to break her, he don't want to upset her, he don't want to do nothing. Let's go ring the alarm. So it was so funny, kind of like looking back, watching him go through the process of her getting to know him and him getting to know her. And now the way Kyla gives a hug is Kyla just leans in with her head, like into your chest, your stomach area. So I remember when she did that to him and she brought up a picture she made from school. Like we had just come in from her coming from school and she made some picture and he yelled out of the window when we were getting out of the car. And she went right upstairs to where he was in the house and gave him her picture. You want to see a 220-pound muscle man well up with tears in his eyes? Girl, it was just so sweet to see, like he's so emotionally moved by her. Like it's just, he just wants her to be his friend, wants her to know that he is there for her, and when she did that and she leans his head into him, like he feels like he gets so mushy.
So let me ask you this question.
She got him wrapped around her finger.
I'm sorry. So let me ask you this question. So I know you said that you do a couple of different things as well as your daughter. So what do you do to give yourself a break?
Okay. As far as a break, it's funny because I have the magazine, Meet the Woman Behind the Business magazine. It's a magazine that supports Black women small business owners. And while it's work, like I enjoyed connecting with these women because now I've built these sisterhoods where these women are all over the country, right? So I get to get on a plane and go visit, like go to Houston or go to LA, to be with these women, if just for a weekend, just for us to bond, support each other. And it's not just work when we do those, those type of get-togethers. I haven't really been doing a lot lately of things that, like, I would love to just travel and do. So kind of like building these friendships is kind of giving me that outlet to a degree, but I don't do enough of stuff for me. Like I
Get a
was telling
Pat.
you, like, what?
Get a Pat.
Yes, come on, Pat. Give me the talk too, because I need it.
Get a Pat.
Come on.
Wait,
Come
listen,
on.
because you know I'm that parent and everything I do. You know, when I go away, I feel guilty if I don't take my baby. So you even let me tell you, our vacations are, we do go, but he goes everywhere. I do not. I feel I'm that mom that I feel uncomfortable leaving him behind. I really do. Like, and I have to learn how to say, okay, B, you go everywhere. Like, mommy needs a minute, mommy needs a day.
Right.
I'm not there. So y'all help me out. Like,
I'm gonna get both of y'all. Well, I can't get.
Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna get both of y'all. Okay.
I can't get because I gotta get me too. Because we gotta get each other. Like, you know what? Today I was at Jermaine's camp and there was a parent there. I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing this. And she came in and she was like frantic, right? She was frantic. She was bringing her daughter's lunch, and I just saw her, right? So I've been experiencing anxiety since June and July. So I can see it on people and I could feel her energy. And I was like, yo, wait a minute. I stopped her. I said, hold up, you okay? She was just a little bit winded because I ran from the bodega to get her food. And I said, no, it's more than that. I said, you can't leave right now. So we got to help each other. I said, stop. I said, hold on, just stop. And I said, Nadine, she ain't good. Nadine had went in and checked on Jermaine because I'm over Jermaine, and Nadine is like, get out of here. Do not go to class. Go away. So I took her. I said, come on, let's go. I said, Nadine said, let me get you some water. So I sat her down in the classroom. I'm like, wait. I said, what's the matter? I said, are you okay? And she was like, I am. I didn't take my blood pressure medicine. I said, no, that's not what this is. This is a panic attack. Like, this is anxiety. So I said, sit down. I let her smell some of my oil. I use oils, frankincense. Then she was just like, my mom's birthday is coming, and she passed away like 2 years ago. And then she was saying, she has some other family members that she's helping. And she was just, she just needed to release. She was like, I was overwhelmed. And she said, that's the word. That's the word. And I said, listen, you set boundaries, and we have to put ourselves first, or we're not going to be here. And like Sadie said, the sad part about it is we can't afford to die. Like,
you touched on the topic that me and Trey talk about every now and most of again.
And I just sat her down, and then she sat there and she just talked to me. It was like one of these, what we're doing right now. She talked for about 15 minutes, and then she got calm and she was like, thank you so much. I was like, no, just relax. Just wait a minute. Are you okay? Like, chill. Hold on. Just, you got to be able to just stop. And I told her, I said, when you are feeling like this the next time, I said, just stop. If you're in your car, just stop and sit for 5. Just stop. And then I prayed with her. And she was like, thank you so much. And I said, here, take my number. Call me. Like, we so scared to give somebody our number. Like, either you with it or you not. Like, I was like, just because we're close on Facebook because we see each other at all the events. No, you have to DM me. Take my number. She was like, thank you so much. But these are the moments, like, we have to check each other. Like, say all of that, this is my magazine, and I get to meet these women and blah, blah, this. No, you need time away from that. Like, seriously, like, no, like, I know. And another thing I said to her, she said, and I'm saying this to y'all too. She said, I don't want to complain. And I'm like, we have to stop thinking that we're complaining. Like, I used to do that too. Dean said something to me that I'll never forget. I came, she was doing stuff, and I said, well, some parents have 2 kids on the autism spectrum. Who am I to complain? She said, wait a minute. Your situation matters too. That don't compare your situation to somebody else's and diminish it or water it down like you're not struggling, because we all get to tap into what it is that we need. And so many times we say, oh, God is good, and God is, and I'm not going to complain, and somebody else got it worse than me. No, when we need to release, to get on that phone with somebody and have that conversation. So I just want both of y'all and myself to tap into ourselves and I'm so glad I got Pat now, because Pat gonna be sick of me. but because we need to. Pat came in my life, and I was like, I'm not okay. I don't even know. I just met Pat through a childhood friend, her husband, and I'm just pulling on Pat. When I got that book, Pat's book and Pat book, I said, listen, I'm not okay. Like, I've been dealing with anxiety. I'm losing my mind. And Pat, the first thing she said to me, which was just genuine because nobody ever said, she said, are you okay? Nope.
You know, I just feel like we have and it's because we always have to be strong. A difficulty with being transparent. Because if we talk a little bit, sometimes it becomes too much. And then we're always worried about who's gonna share whatever we told them or how people are going to perceive what we said. But the bottom line is, if we're having a difficult time and we're talking to somebody, please, people, understand it's because we need to talk to somebody. We're really going through something and we really need some help and we need somebody to listen to us. You know, I was like that a lot when it came to Brandon and a lot of stuff that he was going through. And, you know, I recently said this. When Brandon was born, he was very sick. He was premature. He was 1 pound, 15 ounces, went down to 1 pound 8, had his first shunt at 6 weeks old, and then surgery after surgery after surgery until he was about 3. And it was a learning experience for me. It was I had support, you know, we had the early intervention and the therapist and the this and the that, you know, we have all of that, right? But I still was alone, unsure, confused. I was learning so much. It was a whole new realm for me. I mean, because I had my daughter, she was 11 when he was born. And so, you know, she hit the milestones and was doing her thing. But this was totally new to me. When Brandon got that colostomy and then started having them seizures again over the past couple of years, the past few years have been a learning experience for me again. It's like I started right back over from where I was back in 99 and 2000. Just started right back over again. And nobody will understand that. The difference is now, though, what I learned with this situation, and I told myself this, I cannot keep this. Because I felt myself, this time I felt myself really cracking, like internally, I felt myself breaking. And I was like, okay, I can't keep this. Now I met some great medical professionals. I have to tell you, like, there were nurses and doctors that I still am in communication with from time to time. And I was able to be open with them. Again, I went to therapy, but that led me to be able to be more transparent and open with friends and with family and say, hey, I'm stuck. I'm struggling. I need your help, or I need you to do this for me. So I just want to tell, you know, women, caregivers, it's okay to ask for help, because guess what? You'll be surprised who will be receptive of your need and be there for you.
And let me say this about Sadie. And I want her, I just want her to no, this is good stuff. And I want her to just pour into the other women, because we let ourselves go. We be looking busted, raggedy. Sadie be looking fly. Like, no. I know you have moments, but I see you, like, you take that time to do your videos where you're showing products and stuff like that. You know, there's so many of us, and I'm speaking about special needs moms, who don't have our magazine, have not stepped out because everything's about our kid, who don't do events, who don't do their podcasts. I see you with your outfits and showing us the jewelry and all that. But this is important. No, this is important for you as a woman, for you to not lose yourself. How do you not lose yourself? I see you. I'll be like, Sadie be all fly. Look at her. Look at the glasses. You know, Sadie just be like, yo, and you and your husband, you know, just talk to some of the women. Like there's so many women. I see them at galas. They haven't gone to eat. They come to a gala in a sundress. And I'm just like, wait, what? This the gala, like this 1 year, you're at the 1 year annual gala. So just talk a little bit about how you don't lose yourself in the mix.
You know, I will say, oh God, now I'm going to get emotional.
It's okay.
This actually goes back to my mother. My mother didn't have an easy life. Um, they grew up very, I'm from South Carolina, and my mother lost her mom when she was 13. And there were 11 of them, the siblings. And I'll never forget her and my aunts talking about how, because most of them managed to kind of stay together. One went to stay with like an older sibling, but they still managed to mostly stay together, even though their father was partly disabled. My grandfather was. So she said, like they said, they never forgot how the aunts and uncles were talking about who was going to take which couple of the kids this way and that way. And they were always looked at as poor little Sadie's kids. That was my grandmother's name. So they were always looked at as poor little Sadie's kids. So my mother and her sisters, they always made an effort to keep themselves together, even though they had a rough life. And then even with my mom, my mother went through abuse and, in her marriage, and she still managed to keep herself together, and I saw my mom always keep herself together, even when we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have, nobody knew how hard it was except for some of our family. The kids in my school certainly didn't know, because when my mom showed up, my mother was on. And all them kids would be like, your mother's always the best dressed. Your mom is so pretty. And it just made me feel so good. Like, and then to look back on that and to know how we were struggling, we didn't even have no indoor plumbing for a little while. Like, that's what I'm talking about, and to see my mom still always put her best self forward, even going through struggles. And I didn't see it as struggles when I was a kid, but as I got older, yeah. When you got to chop wood and you got to use a wood burning stove, like I'm from rural South Carolina with red clay dirt roads. Okay. And when you're doing all of that, you're not at the top of any, but she always managed to pull it together. So for me, yeah, when I'm around the house, I look a hot mess sometimes. But anytime I got to step out, I think about how, my mother's aunts, were like, Polo Sadie's kids, and I think about that. And I always want to represent them in the best way, I don't know that, I guess, but to specifically address parents of special needs kids, you have to do it for yourself. You do have to want to pull it together for yourself. You're worth that. You're worth stepping out here and looking your best. And you ain't got to spend all the money. Child, look, this stuff from TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't got to spend or feel as if you're taking from your child by pulling yourself together, because it really doesn't even, you can pull it together without breaking the bank or feeling like you're taking anything from your child. But you have to know that you are worth it. You're worth looking good if you want to. You don't have to not, I don't know.
No, that is so, so powerful. And we just got to get up and wash our face, put on some eyebrows, and just be beautiful for yourself. Like, and I know, and I'm not judging any autism mom. I know we are overwhelmed. And I go out some days and I'll be looking crazy too. But I do take time when it is a gala. I do take time when it is somebody's birthday party. I do take time in those moments to say, this is a moment for you to dress up. This is a moment for you to be cute. And that, like, I went out the other day with my girlfriend and we had a good time. One of my best friends, we went out to Edgewater by the water. I put on my Fashion Nova dress, comb my hair down.
Yes.
We don't really do a lot of makeup anyway. We actually 55, so we put on a little eyeliner, make sure our eyebrows we ain't got no bald spots in our eyebrows. Y'all know he got bald spots in my eyebrows. Right?
I didn't know that. So you just
Listen,
taught me something. Now I'm gonna go look.
listen, go in the mirror, right, Pat? Listen, go in the mirror, get your eyeliner if you have an eyeliner, and fill in your eyebrows and watch how different you look. I promise you, I'll be like, oh my God. Like,
that bald spot that I didn't know I had.
I didn't know eyebrows had thinned out because I had went to a friend of mine. This was many years ago. We went to this woman's event, and there was a woman there. She was selling the eyebrow celebrity kits. Like it was a little brush with a little powder, and she put it. I have it on now. I put it on every day because I didn't know my eyebrows was thinning. Like I was like, when she put it on, I was like, oh my God. She said, that's what the celebrities are doing. And I buy it all the time. I was like, I can't even believe the difference that it makes just filling in the bald spots in your eyebrows when you're a certain age, because they are thinning. So just take your time, ladies. And again, we have to just make sure, like Sadie said, we are worth the minute. Like I've been taking a longer shower. As long as I can hear Jermaine outside the door and I got the chain on the door and all that, I've been in the shower, take a little drop of peppermint oil. I'm turning it into a spa now because I'm like, I'm so used to rushing. Like I was in the car today and I was driving to camp and there's no time limit for me to get there. And I'm rushing and I'm just like, yo, you're not in a rush, ma'am. And this is me talking to myself. Like, they're coming home. Like I'm doing, I'm just like, you're going home. Like, what are you doing? So because we're so used to being anxious and rushing and getting it done, even when there's nothing to do. We doing too much. I'm driving down the highway like I'm running to see somebody in the hospital that ain't gonna be there in 15 minutes. Like I got the call. And I'm just like, you just had a whole conversation with another autism mom. I tell myself too sometimes, like, put your shoulders down. Like,
yeah.
Right now, you put your shoulders down. It's a different feeling because we're having an intense conversation. So we're like, oh, it's like, put your shoulders down. So
it feel a lot better when you said that. Like,
exactly.
Right. Because that's our posture all the time because of the fear of, and I said before on one of our shows, like, there's not a moment that I'm not concerned about Jermaine.
Yeah.
There's not a moment in my life, no matter where, unless this is the only time I'm really not concerned is when his father is with him.
Okay.
That's the only time I'm at peace because I'm like, I don't have to make excuses for his dad. Like other people, like family, friends, teachers, I'm so concerned about a behavior or a STEM and I'm just like, oh, he's just, but with his father, it's like, that's his father. He can spit, chew, flip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I have that type of support, if you will, with her grandparents and her aunt, and Kyla's been going back and forth between households since she was little, so I'm kind of grateful that we had that relationship with her going back and forth because now she's just as comfortable over there as she is here. Whatever she does there, she does it. Nobody gives it a second thought, it's what it is. Kyla's doing all right, whatever. It's just Kyla just getting to be Kyla wherever she is. So like, I am very thankful for that support, but I got to start making some time for me and do like brunch dates. I like brunch, I just want brunch.
Well, what's stopping you? Like, what makes us, and this is a question that I'm proposing to all of us, like, what makes us, the things that we like to do, why don't you, what's the matter with brunch? Like, what's the holdup?
Just me, to be completely just me. I could pick up the phone there and tell her, hey girl, you want to go get brunch next week? But I don't. It's almost as if I feel like whenever I don't have Kyla, like I'm planning the stuff I gotta do, and then next thing I know, she's here, and then I haven't made that plan to go you know? So it's just like a cycle. And there's nothing stopping me other than me just doing it.
Right. We, and I'm sure Pat understands. We totally understand that when we have a break, like his dad was here this weekend. You know what I did? Instead of going to get my nails done, trying to get a massage, and I knew he was going to be here from until 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. Instead of me scheduling something for me, I went to Walmart in the supermarket by myself. Instead of, like, I could just really call the supermarket or schedule online to just pick it up and they bring it to the car with Jermaine. Instead of me taking that time for myself to even go sit in the park or drive to the beach or there's a little lake over here, I chose to go get Jermaine's food, his pancake, gluten-free pancake batter, his noodles. I chose to still give him that time when that was my time. Crazy.
I mean, how many times have I said, Trey, oh yeah, Trey, we gotta get together. We gotta go to break.
We got it.
That's as far as it goes.
We got it.
So that's a homework assignment, ladies. That's a homework.
You too, Pat. What you talking about? Me and you have said it 7 times too.
Yeah, come on, Pat.
All right, so that's the homework assignment. Look.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
by the end of the month, we're gonna figure out a date. I said I'm giving us to the end of the month.
Okay.
Yes, we are, and we're not gonna talk about the kids.
The
kids got to pay the bill.
That's a good one.
We are not going to mention the special needs kids because you know that if we don't say it, you know that's what our conversation gonna be. Because we have made this the center of our life when we get together as special needs moms. We gonna get together. We're not gonna talk about them. And the first, so you better think because you're gonna pay the bill. You're gonna pay the bill. So Sadie, before we let you go, what do you need?
What do I need? That's a shame. I don't even know how to answer that. I don't know how to answer that. What do I need? You know, if I could wish for anything, it would be peace of mind, not having to worry. That, you know, that would be something I would love, you know, but that's crazy. I don't even know how to answer that. I don't.
We totally get it because we have been so engrossed in this life of being special needs moms that we no longer know what we need. We know we have become special needs moms. That has become our title, but that's not who we are. That's not who we are. That is a part of our life. And we have a parent that's coming on. And I love her son. His name is Jay. And Jay, he has an Instagram, Jay Say. And he's nonverbal, but he talks on the talk. He's an actor, and he portrayed John from the Sans Place. He was the body movement for him. And he says, I have autism. Autism doesn't have me. That is not who we are. And we have so sadly become that thing, but not no more. But not anymore. Y'all know I'm from the hood, but not no more.
Girls, we know.
Not no more, baby.
We be trying.
Y'all totally understood that. I tell people all the time, I speak 2 languages. Well, 3 now. I speak English, Ebonics, and emoji.
I like that.
I picked up a whole new language. So, Sadie, if there is anything we could do for you, let us know. If you need a reminder that you matter, if you need a reminder to put your shoulders down, let us know. You can email, text, send a pigeon message, whatever you need to do. We're here for you because the thing about it is we understand. Just for you not to know what you need, I'm just like, what do I need? I don't even know what I need right now. But I know one thing I need y'all.
And we got you. We got
Yes,
you.
we got you.
Yes.
Eat each
Thank
other's.
you so much, Sadie, for sharing. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, I appreciate y'all. This was good for me. This was good for my soul. It was God. I don't get to have these conversations often. So
Oh,
yeah.
well, we're glad to have you, and we're gonna have you back. Thank you so much for tuning into the Special Needs Mom Show. I'm your host, Trey Kearney. This is my co-host,
Pat Ward.
and we are here for you. And just remember, as a special needs mom, you matter. Pat, any final words?
I just want to let you know to stay encouraged, stay transparent, and don't be afraid to ask for anything if you need it. We are here.
Yes, we are. Peace and blessings, and we will see y'all next time.